Hey guys, well thanks for checking in, and I am back in the old rolling steel coffin, which also is my office and my truck. And we're heading out to a new property today, and this one is a little special than the normal ones I do. It's because I bought it, and I want to tell you a little bit about this process, because I'm going to buy this property, I'm going to fix this property, and then I'm going to put it back on the market at a great price, all ready to go, turnkey for the next buyer. And I thought it'd be interesting to talk about the process. So if you've ever thought about buying, managing, and selling, and maybe flipping real estate, well then you're going to like this conversation. Stick around. You're watching The American Landman. Okay, well, let's talk about this property. Well, it all began probably about, 4 or 5 months ago. I was actually on a property tour for a property that somebody had called me and they wanted to list, and they asked me to come up and take a look at it. So I was standing there talking with this family about the property that we were looking at that they owned, and out of the woods comes this older couple. I had no idea where they came from, and all of a sudden they were standing there, joined the conversation, and they were kind of listening. As it turned out, they owned 30 acres right next door to the one that I was assessing, and they said, hey, when you're done here, can you come over and take a look at our property and tell us what you think it's worth, because we're thinking about listing the property. So I finished my tour with one family, and I walked over to the other property right next door. And what they had over there was a 30-acre parcel. It had an old mobile trailer on it that was probably from the 1980s, and it was kind of in disrepair. The yard was a little messed up. There was kind of green moss growing on it. It just looked like, nobody had been there for a while. And we went inside, and that's exactly what we found. Nobody had been in there for a little while. It had been used as like a cabin. There's a little bit of water damage. It looked a little dated, but overall it wasn't in bad condition. Then we walked the property, and what I saw was a lot of trash, trails that were not mowed, garbage laying around, just overgrown yard, just general disrepair. Something you'd see where nobody had really been to the property in 3 years. And I find these properties often, and there's a lot of times various motivations by the seller to get out of this property. So we started talking. Eventually, a couple days later, I came back with my recommendations of what I thought that I could sell this property for. And as I always do with these sellers, is initially, if I didn't approach them to buy it myself, I just do my normal job of, this is what I think you could sell it as is. What's your motivation to clean this property up? Are you willing to do a little work? Because if you are, I can get you this price for a little bit more work. Or if you really want to go all the way and make trails and food plots and hang stands and really clean the place up, get new carpet, paint, whatever it takes to kind of set that property up, I can get you top dollar. And in this case, their answer was, we don't want to do any of that. We just don't have the time. We don't have the energy. We don't have the money. We just don't have the inclination. I said, okay, well then, what would you like to do? And they said, well, we'd like to list it at $90,000, which is what I ended up doing. So as we were filling it out, and I kind of started thinking about it, I thought, I might be interested in this property. And they had some motivations that they kind of wanted to get the money out of it a little quicker. And I said to them, I said, if I was to buy this from you for $90,000, would you consider selling it to me? And I'd be a cash buyer, a couple basic contingencies of inspection, and they ended up saying yes. So that's what I did. I bought this property for $90,000, and now we're on our way up there. And when we get there, I'm going to show you what we got. I'm going to walk you through this property. I'm going to break it down by pieces. I'm going to tell you what I think I see in the property and where I see opportunity. And I'm going to try to fix this property up, eventually put it back on the market for maybe one of you to buy. So we'll pick it up when we get there. I got about a 45-minute drive to get to the property, and I'll see you there. Okay, well, here we are. This is the property I just purchased, and tomorrow I close, and we're going to do a walkthrough of this property, but it's a mobile home. It's really simple, and it sits on 30 acres. And my thought here is, It just needs a lot of TLC, it needs a little cleanup. And when I came out here and I first saw it, it was quite a mess. There was a lot of garbage laying around, and there's still a lot here that needs to be cleaned up. But I recognize an opportunity because, as I say a lot of times to my buyers who I am helping find properties of their own, is that oftentimes you got to find a motivated seller that might be motivated on a lot of levels. Maybe they just don't want to do the work themselves. Maybe they live far away. Maybe it's an estate sale and they don't have any emotional connection to the property. There could just be a lot of reasons why somebody is interested in selling their property. And in this case, that's what we had here. This guy was a remote seller. He didn't live here. Nobody was using it for a long time, and it was just starting to be a lot of work, and he was just ready to move on. So those were his motivations. So when I came here and I looked at the property, I assessed it on multiple levels. I said, if you sold it just as is, you don't even touch anything, take a couple personal things out, you'll get $90,000 for it. If you do a little work and you step it up a little bit, maybe clean up the grounds, and you can see the side how it's kind of green and there's moss growing on here, and you stain the deck and you clean off everything, you might get, 135 to 140 out of it. And if you subdivide this and sell this as a 15-acre parcel with the trailer, food plots and tree stands and trails, and do all these things, well, then you can get maybe 135,000 for this half. And if I show them, and I showed them the market locally of other 10 to 15 acre parcels, I think you can get about 105 for that. So you do the 135 on one side, 105 on the other, you got $240,000. That's what you can do, but it's going to require permitting, work, and frankly, didn't want to do that. So that's how I found this, and that was my logic when I bought this property. And then I actually made an offer to him, and my offer to him was, I'll buy this property at the lowest level. Normally, if you sold it, somebody's going to come in a little and they're going to want to negotiate, so you'd get a little less than the 90, and then you'd pay closing costs and commissions. And I estimate that to be, roughly around 8 to 9%. So you could I said, just round it up, 10% right off the top. That's what you would take away, or I could buy it from you. And if I buy it from you, well, I'm a cash buyer, no commissions. We'll just do this deal between ourselves, and that's what I ended up doing. So now I'm here, and I've got this, I'm going to own this, and I'm going to go to work subdividing this, cleaning it up, and making it better. And then I'm going to put it back on the market, and I'm going to offer this at a very affordable price, and something to make somebody really happy. So I feel like it's a win-win all the way around. I'm going to take you inside. I'm going to show you what I see. I'm going to talk a little bit about the things that I think we need to improve on it, and then I'm going to document this process as we go. So come along. Okay, well, let's go in and let's check this out. Come on, Lucy. Here we go. All right, well, here she is, a 1980 mobile home. When I first came in here, I just kind of did a walk through this property, and I just started assessing it for what kind of shape was this, what kind of condition, and how could I improve this if it's going to be a big project or if it's going to be cosmetic. And initially, my impression right now is, well, a little bit of carpeting in here will go a long way. The kitchen was semi-updated with, newer appliances, and overall it didn't look too bad. I could see some window treatments in here. Pull out this carpet and, get a light color. Same thing back here. What I'll end up probably doing is I'll probably get rid of all this furniture and either give it away or just get a dumpster and get rid of it. Take these window treatments, they're dark brown, just clean those up, maybe get some new fixtures on the windows, and just basically change carpet and cosmetically improve it. But what you got to look for really closely is water damage. And my first hint that there might be some water damage was this down here. You can see how that's buckling down there. So that gave me an idea that there might be some water damage. And sure enough, as I came back in here, I found a bathroom that had some cracks going on down here. So I thought to myself, okay, there's something going on. They've duct taped it up. What's happening? And as I looked around, I started seeing evidence of water. You could see how they have taken out the wall there. I could see a little evidence of it being wet down below there. So I'm not really sure what I'm going to get when I pull out all of this old carpet. But when I talked to the owner, he was pretty forthcoming with the whole thing. Said he had a little water backed up that had run back into this back bedroom, so they pulled up the subfloor and replaced it. I saw a little damage down here, probably fairly simple to deal with. Maybe put some wainscoting on this wall here. But overall, it looked like it was in not too bad a shape. And one thing you can do as a buyer, if you smell mold in here, you probably got an issue. But right out of the gate, I did not smell mold. So I'm pretty confident I don't have an issue to deal with right there. So use your nose to help indicate, what your eyes are seeing. Well, when you're rehabbing places like this mobile home, you got to keep in mind this is still a mobile home, and you don't want to put a ton of money into it just because you're never going to get it out of it. Mobile homes tend to have a lifespan, I would say, of maybe 20 years tops, and I'm probably pushing 40 on this one. But they're still usable in some of these up north situations. This is going to be like a cabin for people. But when I made an offer on this property, I put zero value on this, and the owner agreed. So what I bought it for was basically the land value, but from a usability value, I still saw an opportunity. He saw an eyesore. I thought to myself, and I told him, I think what I need to do is I need to come in here and fix this flooring, put new carpet down, probably get some updated lighting maybe, make sure it's nice and bright, change the fixtures on the windows, kind of like spruce it up a little bit, lighten it up. And when you do that, there's going to be value to the next guy. But I know I'm not really going to get a lot of value on it for the resale. But I think when I do the work here, both inside and outside, and I'm going to show you the outside next, I think there's maybe, $20,000 to $25,000 of value here. But one thing that I learned in the process is that when they title this property, because this is a mobile trailer, it's still on wheels, there's axles, that they won't title it as part of the property. So that's why I basically bought it for $1. I did a bill of sale on this and had the owner sign it, and he sold to me for $1. And what I need to do once I own this tomorrow, I'm going to take the title, I'm going to get the VIN number, and hopefully I'm going to find it on the tongue, and I'm going to transfer ownership just like you transfer a car. I'm going to transfer ownership from him to me. But they won't title this mobile home on the property unless it was actually attached to the property. And what they told me I have to do is I have to get this up, I have to put it a permanent foundation, like a block foundation, and I have to remove the axles and wheels and set it back down and permanently affix it to the property. And then I have a parcel that they can actually title to the property, but I'm not going to do that. I think that there's room here for me to just improve the property and have the next guy come in with a nice, clean, operational mobile home, and we'll basically sell it with a little bit of built-in for what the work that I'm going to do here. So it has well, it has septic, it has internet, it has everything to be livable. I've had it checked out, everything checked out good. So a little bit of TLC. So my plan is that I'm going to put carpet through here. I'm going to carpet the bedrooms. I'm probably going to change out the window treatments. I'm going to put carpet in we'll call it the great room. And I'm just going to clean everything up and get it smelling really good. And then we're going to work on the outside. On the outside, I'm going to power wash it. And well, let's go out and take a look and I'll show you. Come on, buddy. Okay, so outside of the property is basically a lot of cosmetic cleanup. As you can see here, there's a lot of discoloration on here. This is moss that's grown. This is the north side of the trailer, and this moss grows on here, and it's just an eyesore. But it's so simple to simply take a Hudson sprayer, a little pump sprayer. We're going to do about a 1 to 3 ratio of water, 2 gallons of water, 1 gallon of bleach, something like that. And we're going to spray this off. We're going to let that bleach wash down this, or buy a commercial cleaner, siding cleaner, and then we're going to power wash. It just so happens he tells me in the barn that he left me a power washer. So, but at the very least, I've got an outside hose. We're going to spray this off, and we're going to clean this up. So cosmetically, we're just going to brighten up the entire trailer. The deck also could use a power wash. And what we're going to do there is we're going to get a deck brightener. We're just going to go to the hardware store. I'm going to take that Hudson sprayer and I'm going to spray this on, and then we're going to power wash this off, and we're going to brighten this deck up. It looks like it might be a little uneven, so if I can straighten it out, I'm going to do that. And then I've got a client, his name is Joe McNamara, who actually does railings, and he's going to get me an aluminum rail. So we're going to take off the rail out there, just unscrew it, throw it away, put a new one on there, and we're just basically going to brighten that up, and it's going to look like $1 million. And then lastly, there's some flower beds, and now the owners come in here and they've taken some of the hostas that were here because they meant something to him. So I let them do that. I said, yeah, go ahead and take whatever plants that you guys want out of here. It looks like he has. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here, I'm going to put plastic down, I'm going to get some flowers, I'm going to put some perennials in here, and then I'm going to bark this, and we're just cosmetically going to make this look like $1 million. So once the trailer's looking good, we got the deck and the beds around here, we're going to clean up the yard. So let me show you that, because it's got a little bit of TLC needs, but it's easy to fix. Okay, well, at one point he tells me this was all nice yards, but I can see that it has not been cleaned up in many years. There's a tire down here that we're gonna have to get out of here. There's a lot of tree branches, just a lot of things that have fallen down, and but this is easy. I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna pile up all this brush here, and I'm gonna end up mowing this, and I'm gonna get it fertilized, and we're gonna do that a couple times. We're gonna get this yard whipped into shape. A leaf blower, my tractor, maybe a bonfire, and we're gonna mow this and we're gonna clean this up. And this is gonna look like $1 million. And cosmetically, guys, all we're doing is just putting in a little sweat equity, but that alone will help the curb appeal, because when I put this on the market and I get somebody to come up that driveway, I want them to have that wow factor. I want them to look at this and go, oh, this is really nice. And then I'm gonna take them on these manicured trails. So I'm gonna show you 2 things that we're gonna do. Three things we're gonna do. We're gonna talk about this barn, what I'm gonna do there. We're gonna talk about the driveway, and then I'm gonna take you out in the woods a little bit, and we're gonna show you the land, because it's a real easy fix and I got the equipment to do it. Well, this was a little added bonus, this little shed out here. Immediately when I saw the shed, I looked at the roof, and I looked at the paint, and I looked at the siding. Those are the 3 things that I was kind of concerned about, because if I had to fix that, those will be the big ticket things. But what I found is there's really nothing to fix. Again, maybe a little power washing at best, maybe the roof. I'll get some of that discoloration off there. That's really simple to do with bleach and water. And then I might even paint the siding, because on the door it's starting to peel a little bit. And the idea here is I'm just going to freshen this up. The other thing I got to take down is I got to get rid of this tree here. So I'm going to bring in my chainsaw, and we're gonna cut that down. It's got an old picnic table there that's purple. I might keep that. I'm not a Viking fan, and I guess or a Prince fan. I guess they liked Prince, and that's why that was there. So I'm gonna clean up. And then I see a little garbage around here, but I'm basically just gonna spruce this up. We got a fire pit. I might get some chairs around the fire pit. I'll clean out whatever's in there, and I see an old mower back there. He tells me it works, but I'll probably get rid of that and just bring my own. So just simple sprucing up out here, and I think this is gonna look like $1 million when I'm done. So when I first approached this opportunity, I noticed something I found that got a lot of value, and that's utilities. So this property already has electric, it has well installed, it's got a septic system, it's got internet, and all that infrastructure is pretty valuable. I would say electric alone is probably, depending on the distance that you have to bring it in from the road where it's at to here, is probably $20,000. A septic, depends on if you have a collection tank, a mound, or conventional, but I'm gonna say that's probably, I'm gonna say $10,000 ballpark. And then your well is another, I don't know, $5,000 to $10,000. It really depends on the depth. If you're looking at these properties and you're looking to improve a property that doesn't have all this, all you got to do is call your local installers and give them the general location, and a lot of times they can ballpark what it will cost. I know for well, for sure, they've done many wells in here. They know the depth that they have to go to drill, and they'll say, yeah, in that area, we hit water about 50 feet, so give or take, it's going to be an $8,000 well or whatever. But if it's already here, that's a big benefit, and that's what we got here. So I've talked to a couple of people about the mobile home, and I said, you know, I'm considering selling it. What would you give to me? Well, what would you buy it for if I was to sell this? And without looking at it, they said, what are you going to do to it? And I said, well, I'll probably put carpet and I told them about the wet floor. I'll have it fixed. And they said, yeah, I'd probably give you $10,000. So that's option one, what I can do. And then if I pull this off here and I just wanted to get rid of it and junk it, it'll cost me about $2,000 to $5,000 to pull it off the foundation and get it out of here. So if I don't like it here, and maybe a buyer comes and says, I like the area and I like the site, it's got all the utilities and infrastructure, but I want to build my home here, I don't want this. I might negotiate with them. I'll call my buyer and I'll say, I'll sell this to you for $10,000. He'll pull it off. I'll have all the infrastructure. Somebody will build their house, a cabin here. Everybody will be happy. So those are some things that I found in my research so far. But I tell you what, this right here, these utilities, huge advantage, especially the internet, because the folks that are coming out of the Twin Cities, which is my local market, are definitely going to ask me, do you have internet? And yes, I do. Let's go to the driveway and I'll show you that. Okay, well, the driveway, I'm still up in the air whether I'm going to spend the money to do this. Right now it's just sand. At the other end, right around the corner there's a kind of where the entrance is, there's a deep hole. And I've thought about, you know, I know cosmetically if I brought in gravel, it will make it look really nice. But when you're doing these cosmetic things, you got to kind of think about the return on investment. Will a nice gravel driveway really get me that much more money out of this property? Or will it? And will the cost of doing it be returned? I'm kind of leaning towards it would be a nice to have, it's not a need to have. At the very least, what I think I'll do is I'll bring my tractor here. I've got a landscape rake, and I will rake this out and I will flatten it out and I'll make it look good. I'll fill in that hole down there so there's not this rut, and I'll just kind of flatten it out and make it look good. And same thing up to the house. I might put a little gravel pad up there because that definitely will look good, but I don't think I'm going to do this whole driveway. I've seen some of my fellow agents that are flipping properties or reselling properties, they're doing that because it definitely makes it cosmetically look better. But in this case, I think instead of doing this, I'd rather put the money into the trails because there's an excellent trail system through here when it was logged, and I'll show you that. And that is instant equity for sure. I'll probably get, for every $2,000 I spend doing that, I bet I get 10 out of it. So let me show you that next. All throughout this property are logging trails like this. They go through the timber, and this is what they did here. There's a big storm, and they come in here after the storm and they logged it, and they took off all the fallen timber off of this property. But as a result, two things happened. Number one, they took all the timber value. And so as I go through here, and I'll show you, there's some old growth trees that make it look really nice, but there's not a lot of money trees in here. So the way that I'm going to compensate that is I'm going to fix it up cosmetically. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to mow these trails, and I'm going to flatten them out, and I'm going to probably spend $2,000 to $3,000 to do that. I'm going to try to do it with my own equipment. Most of the trails I think I can do just with my brush hog on my tractor, and then I'm going to make a decision where I actually hire a guy to come in and create maybe a couple food plots or just, you know, smooth it out if need be. But most of this stuff is secondary growth, and there's a bunch of trash on here. It's just a matter of cleaning these trails up. But I could tell you that the work that you spend, a day or two's work here, it's going to cost you maybe $1,000 to $2,000 a day. So maybe $3,000 to $4,000 will return you $10,000 to $12,000 on your eventual sale. It's just worth the money, and even more if you can create another food plot or two, and you make an interlinking network, and you don't really have to get really sophisticated with it. A lot of guys would say, what about access and wind? And yeah, I know that all that does matter, but for the average guy, and that's what we're targeting average Joe. This is an entry-level property. We're looking for cosmetic, you know, utility and useful fixes, but most of it's cosmetic, so we don't have to overthink it. So clean up your trails. If you don't have them, make them. If you have them, clean them up, and it's worth every dime. Come on, buddy. Come on, buddy. Let's go. Geez, getting eaten up by mosquitoes. Oh, there's a front coming in. It's great for filming because it's not as bright, but it's bad for mosquitoes. So anyways, well, I'm out in the timber here and I'm looking around here and I'm trying to find areas that I can maybe put in a food plot, because I know guys that hunt are going to want food plots, and my arms are getting bit up as I talk, so I'm going to make this a quick segment. But I know I can bring in a forestry mulcher and I can open up a little area, maybe a little chainsaw work. There's a little flat spot, and clean up this brush right here. This is really easy, simple stuff. That stuff will get eaten up by the forestry mulcher, and I could put just a couple little green areas out here, and I can actually create a food plot. That's going to add a lot of value. And if I can get it separated from the guy that maybe has the 15 acres over there with the guy over here, make it nice, approachable. I see a tree right here. What a great spot for a tree stand. So this might be an area that I can put in a food plot. The forestry mulcher guy with a forestry mulching head, a barrel head, it'll chew that right up. In no time, I'll have an opening. I'll come in here, I'll put a little lime down, I'll put a little fertilizer down, and I'll just simply plant in something that'll green really quick, like an annual clover or even rye. I'll get a little green plot in the woods, and that is money all day long. I'm gonna get out of here because the rain is coming in and the mosquitoes are coming out, but I wanted to show you this. So guys, so here's a recap of this whole thing. Mobile home and trailer, got it for 90,000 bucks. And I think I'm going to try to sell this as a split. I'm going to split this property up. We're going to sell 15 acres with a mobile trailer at 135. Then we're going to sell 15 acres with nothing, and I'm going to open up an area to put maybe a shed or something. I'm going to list that at 105. These are prices, these are my target actual sale prices, so maybe I'll bump it up a little bit to, you know, account for some negotiation, or maybe not. Maybe I'll just say, hey, that's my price. If you want to buy it, that's where you need to be, because I already know by doing my research, I know what the property should sell for. God, these mosquitoes are driving me nuts, and I got to get out of here. And that's the market in this area. That's a very fair price, so I'm just going to cut to the chase probably and sell it and hold my own. I always think that's a great process, a great strategy. I'm not trying to make every dime out of this. I'm not trying to squeeze out every dime out of this sale. I'm going to make it a fair price for a next buyer. I'm going to sell it quick, and then hopefully I'm going to find another project like this, because I just frankly like doing it. So hey guys, I hope you enjoyed that. Send me the questions, text me. A couple of you guys are calling me. I love it. I got a call from Tempe, Arizona, and it's getting hot and I got bugs and I'm all out of breath, but this is my flip. Here's my trailer. It's going to be coming soon. I can't wait to get started. Tomorrow I own it. Thanks for watching. Come on, buddy. Let's go.